Okay.
Okay, here we are for another episode of the Danny and Troy show, and well overdue, I'd say. It's been a while
Yeah,
since
we're
our
still
last.
alive.
We're still, going through life as everybody is. So that is, I guess, listening. I hope we don't have any dead people tuning into our show, but maybe
Not
that's
yet.
where our audience is.
In the graveyard. We're speaking to the spirit world now.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
so
anyway.
we are still enjoying the freedom, the entertainment aspects, the happiness that comes from creative expression. And I am really enjoying actually my efforts on creative writing. And I've been putting down a little book that is underway, and it's still just, setting the scene, a few lines here, shading, outlines. I see it as painting, really, painting a picture with words.
Hmm.
And but yeah, that kind of image of what I want to show is coming forth, penciling before I come in with the paint. And yeah, it's really just enjoying, and that's all the reason I'm doing it is for my own enjoyment. And
Yeah. I
if
mean,
people
when
like it.
before we go to the grave, I think that's probably one of the last questions I want to hear from people. Is
Yeah,
like, well, did you enjoy it?
that's right.
Right?
That's right.
Not how much crap did you accumulate to leave behind to people who are going to just piss it away.
No,
Like, oh, no, we can manage that with a corporation or some stupid shit like this, right? But
sure.
I think people actually are maybe jealous of us to a certain extent because we do what we do for the love of doing it,
It
right?
should be that way for everybody.
It should be, but unfortunately, it's not. Well,
No.
even today, just before this broadcast or narrowcast, we had a chat about people who want to see our financials, right? To know
Yeah,
how happy we are.
sure.
The less money we make, the happier we are. Is that a good answer for you? Right? Because then again, we don't have to justify our existence by, our bottom line.
Exactly.
I don't care, and I think that's one reason why I have been so successful is I just don't care. But don't take me the wrong way, right? I do care, but I'm too deeply into Nietzsche to really give a damn
Right.
about
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy
Okay.
to hear you talk about this contagious effort that's going on because now we've got you right
Exactly.
involved in the whole idea. And I love the way you put it. Whether it's painting a picture or any of the ways you addressed it just a few minutes ago is very important because you're going through your own process, right?
Yeah.
And in this process, it's very interesting for me. Not all just about me. No, I've got a platform, okay, and we use it to promote what we do for people who aren't too carried away by everything. It
Hmm.
seems to me like the more serious people get about something, the less they enjoy it. There are
Hmm.
very few occasions, though, like us, where when we get carried away, we're enjoying it, and it's
Sure.
not about well, how we've got to concentrate more on making money. It's like that will come. Trust me, that money comes. You don't even have to ask for it. Just do what you're doing, which is what's happening to us now. We're broadening out very quickly into the financial realm. You want to
Sure.
borrow money? You want financiers? Okay, please take a few of them because the basket's full of them and they're starting to get crowded,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I would like to allocate some of these funds to full blown proposals that not only have to be penny ready, but what's even worse, they have to go through Troy. Oh my God, no. Because Troy's the success factor. Because when they read it, they're going to say, okay, it looks like all the T's are dotted, right, and all the I's are crossed,
Uh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and it works that way.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm loving it. I love working with you, Troy. So, with that in mind, I would like to offer an episode, a rather pornographic episode,
Oh,
I might say, because I'm taking this opportunity to open a vein, right? To talk about stuff that people don't normally read about. And who reads anymore, right? Okay, I do. I read the heavy duty stuff. But I've got something here that I wrote that I would like to read to people,
okay.
right?
Cool.
As part of this performance, right? So
Great.
it's called Let's Talk Sex. This is a subject you will never get a man to talk about openly. So I'm going to pretend that I'm talking to myself or to a man friend in a barbershop just to see if I am an odd man out or just a run of the mill guy. I am presently wondering if I can get it up anymore. Or are times just changing and fornication is no longer an option for healing the planet or myself for that matter? I won't speak for women. They do that easily enough for themselves. My focus changed, and if so, has my focus changed? And if so, why? Knowingly or unknowingly? The 60s came and went, and I want to hang on to these days. Problem number one: life was wild, and times were fun, carefree, and enjoyable, and there were no negative repercussions that one could see. It was a new age. Dilemma: Mr. Johnson knows more than I do, and I usually listen to him because he's always right. Now he's talking to me, and I'm not listening. He's in a mood, and I'm reacting to his non cooperation with objections. We are obviously in conflict. I'm in bed with the most beautiful woman, and I just want to sleep after I rub her legs and back as well as something else. It's important for me that she is satisfied before me, not due to my dysfunctionality, because I have always done this except on rare occasion. It's easier that way and requires a little patience on my behalf as opposed to the other way around, which can try the patience of Job. I get hard, but the moment she touches me, I go soft. We go soft, Mr. Johnson. Yoo-hoo. The use of they is actually inappropriate because the problem I currently face is only recent, if we can consider 5 years as recent, for discussion purposes only. Also, I do wonder if beauty has anything to do with it, because being in bed with extraordinarily handsome felines, females, does not make a fair assumption of contributing factors that may have led to this condition named Mr. Johnson, which I am presently discussing in a manner of speaking. I have this urge to kill myself, but she feels sorry for me. But I have to stop her. I am as embarrassed as hell. What are you doing? Having my limp member in her mouth is some weird phenomenon, and unlike nipples, does not excite me to erect any monuments of consequence. What good am I? My manhood has evaporated. But why? I'm puzzled. Maybe there's something I can do. Let's investigate. Before I pull the trigger, squeeze the trigger, I wonder what is happening to me. I have always trusted Mr. Johnson. Maybe he is right this time too. He's just sulking. Besides, what can I do without his cooperation? I am, after all, a life support system for a penis. I can't even make anything happen by myself anymore. I don't have any interest. I want to work. Everything has become vulgar and cheap by those who only know the seediness of life, those porno toilet creatures who broadcast trash. I'm the lover who knows how to do it better than anyone. So maybe I should just relax and see what he makes out of it, or be at peace with memories. Maybe I should capitalize he, because sex is still my God, and beyond all certainty, God is presently dead. But more importantly, who killed him and why? If not whom, then what? Could we have a resurrection? Can I get a witness? It's what he wants. And if it's what he wants, it's what I want. Incidentally, he and I are both capitalized. But he doesn't speak through his nose. I'm letting the big head do the thinking now, because the little head is incommunicado, taking a rest, and is otherwise engaged, or should I say disengaged. It's either that or he's dead, the little motherfucker. No more. I happen to want an investigation, and I want the culprit hanging, as well hung. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. But when just hanging out, he's not producing anything, and I do not classify him among the intelligentsia. Are the good times over? In the beginning was the word. Then say the word. Or has the world become so fupped duck that he is sensing a measure of futility in his presumed function? Where is passion? Where is the sense of comfort in the digitalization of life? We are no longer on a sexual basis, not until we clear a few hurdles first. Solutions. I went to the doctor, the one with the gold cap tooth, and she told me that she had a needle for me and that I could use it to prick my beak, my pecker, my morning wood, and entice it to come back to life once again. So I says, yes. And so she calls to the lab and gave them the formula, but the formula didn't come. So I went on. Now I'm going back to see her, my gypsy woman, the one with the sink and her love potion number 9. A couple of shots, everything will be like it was when I was 18, she promises. So I'll see. But surely there are other mitigating factors and amendments, and I don't mean an ice cream stick and scotch tape either, which remains a non-option. It's worth it to get my mojo working unless it's simply dead meat. I'll crawl across a mile of broken glass for restitution and the promise of youth. If I don't recuperate, then the young lady I am seeing will have to go. I told her so. One day she'll off me if I don't off myself first, for betrayal and non-performance and tying up her youth. The show must go on. I would encourage her to do the deed. I don't want blood on my hands, and it will be justified homicide if she does me this favor. And who is going to touch a woman these days when men's backs are broken? Is Mr. Johnson trying to give me a message that sexual involvement is the result of financial success? Or is this the revitalization of family. Oh my God, it just occurred to me. Maybe I turned woke. Oh, that's worse than turning queer. I told her that I didn't turn queer. I mean, I like to think I still have some choice in the matter. Guys don't turn me on, and it's no more safe territory than losing my wick. Of course, there is the distinct possibility that I have been zapped by some government science project. I mean, nothing is impossible these days, what with this Ukrainian Guernica styled missile testing area with live chickens and some clown stand up in the White House. Whoops, again, I mean the Z that's painted on every tank from the other side, the outer limits. Sorry, but that democracy shit doesn't work no more. And folks from this side are willing to kill old Willie to prove it. But if they do, then there's going to be hell to pay, and we'll all be fried eggs on the sidewalk anyway. Now I'm thinking about a man's world and a woman's world, and ne'er the twain shall meet. What do you think, Mr. Johnson? Balls, said the Queen. If I had 'em, I'd be king. Balls are a store of value, like Bitcoin, like freedom. Can't I call my testicles a store of value? Am I being systematically sterilized by lack of interest or a reasonable return on investment? Or are we in an unstoppable societal collapse? Then there is the thing about separation and divorce overshadowing everything, being somewhere between these two goalposts that has its effects. Is it a loyalty issue, Mr. Johnson? Some leftover countenance like a plate of food that sat for weeks uncovered in the frigid air that has now lost its efficacy, attractiveness, and nutritional value to all but scavengers? Does being somewhere in between ever solve anything? Having received some correspondence from the other side now offers the chance of resolution, closure. Will that tempt my Johnson into a Jack in the Box revival, inasmuch as humping Jehoshaphat tent meetings would? Realize my ignorance and peaceful feelings about dead, inanimate, imaginary beings? We have something in common. My soul is then like some desert traveler, scratching past the bleached skulls and clawing its way to the dunes of a mirage on wet sand replete with white caps and bivalves spewing and splashing salt and wastewater from their burrows deep below through a tunnel that connects them with the refreshing source of tides. Sounds familiar. So maybe there's hope. I have no surfboard, no lifesaver, no will to recreate the primordial ooze deity or scenes relating to it through the vision of terrestrial life that tempts me away from my watery grave to the challenges and illusional living on dry land, all standing in contrast to the slippery envelopment of a subsurface refuge. The beasts of this place, where one may have a footing, are terraforms that are no less treacherous than where the behemoths of the deep lumber and are perhaps even more incapacitating. It's strange to me that this should come when it did, while I am concerned with my spigot and garden hose, the fertilization process, the release of generative power into the warm shelter of care. Waves lapping on the shore, the boredom of bottom feeding on decayed and maladaptive transitions has me clamoring for the familiar, even if it is strangling me. I long for the comfort of my old blue jeans. Is it then a matter of relaxation? Does tension create such conditions? Have the milk and cream separated? First comes the realization from which honesty and virtue spring. What is the point in faking it? We're only fooling ourselves in such cases. They have even given this the name of self-deceit, self-denial, befitting a slow suicide that lasts a promised 70 years. Like that should be my identity any more than a LinkedIn profile or profilicity. I get to live a fantasy, and a very unsatisfying one at that. So push on, man, until you have something to push against.
Wow, that's great.
What
So
did he say?
yeah, poetic, and you can just feel the feelings, I guess, is in there, is just the yeah, descriptive anguish of going through something that in some ways doesn't matter, but some ways really does matter. And yeah, that back and forth, and yeah, the connection with how things are actually going on in the world. It's like, yeah, is it, it's deep. It's pretty deep. I can get deep with that. On the
Rubs off on
surface,
you, does it?
on the surface, it's like, yeah, it can be, crude and rude, but when you look at the essence, and this is what I think the power of creative expression, or that what we're doing now is really reading a creative, um, yeah, it's not quite a poem. I was looking for a word that came in to describe what I was writing. I think it came out prose or something. The style,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
style of prose,
yeah.
which is using ordinary language to, be
Yep.
in a description. Then it has the beats. The book, it's the so a poem, it's obvious. It has the rhyming words, but prose also has beats, but it's less, or yeah, more subtle, and but it's there, and that's what the powerful trait you have in all these creative expression readings, poems. Um, yeah, the imagery that you set and the emotions that come from them, and you can tell it's just, yeah, enjoyment from you would have enjoyment in writing it, enjoyment in
Mm,
reading it, enjoyment with sharing it. So yeah, this is what I think the essence of creative expression is.
mm.
And that whole aspect of sex and CEX, I think, yeah, is now, an official datalogical services service that enables others to
Yeah.
experience these joys, these fulfillment traits, these exercises in just living and not worrying about, you your job, and the bills you got to pay, and that you're supposed to be here by now, but you're actually here. That's all is true, and it's important, but just spend some time in this space of creative expression so that you can get reinvigorated, re-energized, and
Yeah.
find something that's good to do for yourself.
It reminds me of something that Yeats once said. He said, I don't feel very well today. I can only write prose.
Yeah. So yeah, but I don't know if we'll get banned on YouTube for some of those terms, but and that's the shame because of how restrictive YouTube is with its community services, and it doesn't allow for creative expression at that level. That's the shame. It just says, well, use this word, and you hinted this, and that, there's a little bit of that in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
We are adults after all, aren't we? Some of
exactly.
us.
But that's what YouTube kind of says. Well, if you're going to be an adult, you got to be this type of an adult. You got to do this and that, and you can't do that because you're not a YouTube adult. That's something else.
Sounds like my parents.
Well,
You
the
know?
thing is, they're funded by the World Health Organization and WEF Association. They're of controlling what goes on in the world. So yeah,
Freedom, freedom.
and
There's another
yeah,
word I can't use, right?
well, no, it's starting to get ridiculous in terms of what you can and cannot do. But there are alternative platforms which
Yeah.
I think we'll start utilizing as well. Rumble is one that
Yeah,
allows,
I hear a lot about Rumble.
right?
I
Yeah,
haven't been there yet, but yeah, I hear a lot about it. It's sort of like, well, if they won't let me do it on YouTube, just go to Rumble
that's
or
right.
or Telegram or something like that. It's okay.
Sure.
You can still be free to speak. But
Yes.
if they do ban it, I guess what they have machines that'll listen to inappropriate words,
Yeah,
right?
that's the first call, and then someone will actually, how big Google is. They actually, yeah, if it gets
Somebody will
flagged,
actually read it and listen
oh,
to it.
yep.
Wow, then we win after all. We have an
We got one
audience of
viewer.
one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't tell your mother what I heard you say on the bus, okay? You may lose your job
Thanks.
for speaking openly and honestly.
I know.
Whatever.
But yeah,
You know, anyway,
uh,
that's about half of it, by the way,
sure.
right?
I mean,
Maybe we can pick up the other half later on. But I wanted to stop there. And I wrote in two things. One thought of mine after the fact, which was online therapy, right?
yeah,
And then your words, which are descriptive anguish. It's like we got a new title, folks. Right?
yeah,
The guy is weeping online about what's going on.
yeah,
And just another word, which is not scripted about this, is that which have been repeated from this descriptive analysis here. And I asked myself, because there's no reason why I shouldn't enjoy my time with them. But it's like, I've always failed to ask myself, particularly of late, am I interested?
mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're perfect. You're someone I would love to da da da, boom, 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 la di da. But something ain't working. And I'm trying to, make something work that's not working without asking myself why it's not working.
Right,
Maybe I'm not interested, right?
sure,
Maybe something is missing.
yeah,
Maybe it's like, in this crude toilet world of ours, people have lost the art of lovemaking,
right, sure,
right? Now it's just all you got to do is lay there and spread your legs and, oh, wow, it all comes. It's like, no, it doesn't.
mm-hmm.
I think the more experience a person has, like me, the more I should keep this personal, the more selective I become.
Sure,
It's not just come over here and get off, it's like that's not what I'm after anymore. I have been spending a lot of time describing intimacy to myself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
is opening up a whole other uh, realm that I've never gone this deeply into. I've always taken intimacy for granted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Sure.
mean, and I ask my local friends around here, and to describe intimacy, and it always has something to do with sex
That's it. Yeah, the
or the
common.
joy of sex, which I think was actually the name of a book, right?
Mm.
And it's like, for me, maybe I'm just overcomplicating things. It just becomes much deeper,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Than just sexual intercourse,
Sure.
right? And it always has been, really, with a few occasions, right, outside of the realm. But nevertheless, it's not my attention anymore. I'm not. I just don't hunt girls down just so, I can have a release.
Sure.
Because I'm asking for more problems
That's
by
right.
doing something like that, right? I
Exactly.
better send my avatar to do this one, right? Because I don't want anybody following me home,
Mm-hmm.
right? So anyway,
Yeah.
it's full of questions that, as I said in the beginning, um, I never hear. I'm the only one I hear talking about this kind of stuff. I don't hear, my friends don't come over to the house and say, Danny, I got to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think they should.
Sure.
But who knows? We're so caught up in various behaviors now
Yeah.
that I don't think we know what to do. I mean, Nietzsche's talking in late 1800s how migration is not the problem. That what it does is it stops communication among people.
Mm-hmm.
It slows it down, and people don't know who they are and who they're talking to. And this
Yeah.
is a central problem. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about your ability to communicate, or
Sure.
be part of a community. It's
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody in the South um, be prejudiced because of a person's skin color.
Sure.
More or less, it ends up being, are you acting stupid? Are you lazy? Are you, these kinds of attributes about whether I want to hang out with a person like that or not,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I have lots of black friends, that I hold in a very high esteem. Fred being one, as I mentioned from previous business, right? African. Um, and my dentist, he's a black American. And I can't think of anybody more intelligent than him. So it's a matter of who we choose to align ourselves with, really, whether it's in sex or whether it's in friendship or in a profession, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
we've gotten ourselves in such a fix that we are trying to obey the rules that have been given to us and forget what it is we are looking for individually.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a distraction.
Yeah.
The other name for government nowadays, right?
Sure.
Distraction. It's like, I don't want to be distracted anymore by what you think is important. And I become, a very infrequent visitor to these YouTube, LinkedIn. It's like everybody is they feel like, I feel like they have captured the and are forcing them to believe in what they want them to believe instead of letting them evolve, and do their own
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
And they're doing that with social media, right? Keeping people under control. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, did anybody ever tell you how boring that is to have people manage the social media sphere to meet certain guidelines? Why? So they can get government grants or something nonsensical like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for something real, obviously, from what I just wrote, right? Not something that is being applied to me,
Sure.
for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
I'm just disenchanted, totally
Mhm.
disenchanted with so many things, as you can tell already on a very deep level.
Mm.
And I'm a virile man, always have been. And I don't expect that my time is up,
Sure.
but it's a perfect time to dislocate myself and to examine my own life
Yeah.
in terms of what the world offers a person who is temporarily misplaced, such as myself, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
all of the complexities that are added or to my life by intercontinental travel,
Sure.
cultural differences, blah 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 blah.
Mhm, mhm.
Not to mention, the weirdness of some people, probably myself included. But we have to have the ability to talk, to converse, to be open and honest with each other without fear of being put down or criticized or made fun of.
Exactly. Well, that's
So I take my little baby step.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I just, for me, keeps going back to what the power of creative expression. It takes something that as taboo as sex, for example, and lets you talk about it, in a creative, expressive, write a song about it. You can,
Mm-hmm.
you know, paint a picture. There's no problem, in that sense, that if I make a painting of a naked woman, it can be looked upon well, yeah, Michelangelo's David, for example, a naked man in the middle of the open. So
Florence, yep.
art and artistic expression opens the door to allow this. Oh, it's not rude, it's not crude, it's just art. And that gives us the communication channel that have been so shut down and say, hey, you can't say that. You can't come into I mean, you could, but it's not kosher to come into a dining table and start saying, with guests all around, oh, I just couldn't get it up last night. But it's just, things that will spark up reaction. What, and it will cause chaos. But it can be done, but in an artistic sense. Let me tell you a poem. Can I read this for you? And just, yeah, inside it is about, issues of whatever they are. So the creative expression opens the door of freedom to be able to express these things that would normally be taboo, but
Yeah.
now, can be expressed because we put the label on it, which is important, to be open and free. It's like taking the joy of sex out of the bedroom and into the streets, but it's not sex anymore, it's CEX. So that should be our next book, The Joy of Sex, sex with the C.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And this can be the opening
Sure.
introduction, right?
Yeah.
Are you having problems? Which is,
Yeah.
by the way, having returned to the United States recently, the first impression I get is there's something wrong with you, but don't worry because we have the solution.
That's right. And you touched in that in your reading as well, the syringe, and it will just give you an injection. So that's what, the world is in the bigger picture. We're applying all these rules. Don't say that. Don't do that. If you want to do that, okay, just take this pill, and then you'll forget actually about you had that desire or drive. And it will make it look like you are, but it's just false. And it's just a little picture, and next it's the virtual reality, and the brainwaves just controlling. Don't think that. So yeah, the government or the controlling agencies have these solutions to give you the false belief that everything's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I
Just
think
go
that
to
that's
go to
the feel for
porn,
that.
man. Everything will be fine. Forget personal relationships.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
all, you just want a climax, right? So you can go eat breakfast and take a shower, right? Am I right? And go to work or whatever,
That's
or
right.
drive around.
So
Yeah.
yeah, great. so many angles, as always, in your readings and messages and depth. So thank you for that again.
You're welcome. And not to leave our audience hanging, I have part 2, which we can do tomorrow.
Great.
Yeah, just
All right.
as a follow-up, unless of course someone's going to blow my door down and kill everybody in the house.
Yeah, might happen.
Just as a teaser for tomorrow,
Okay.
right? I'll just say, as a kicker. Of course, this is all fiction, of course, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing myself as an aberration, a man, 71, with fears of infertility, who loves a woman in a way that he has never known, that has little or nothing to do with age and youthful sex, because this beautiful young woman of 26 solar years is older than he and still fertile.
All right.
So we can
Next.
open tomorrow, if I'm not in chains, living in a damp, dark dungeon somewhere
Okay.
with water dripping on my head.
Yeah.
That is water, isn't it? Okay, enough.
Okay.
Enough. No, I'm not. Not going to say another word tonight.
All right. All right.
All right.
Great. We'll end this
Thank you, Troy,
recording.
for everything we talked about before this too. I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
Keep up the good work, and clue me in from time to time, will you?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, man. See you.